TVR-431, 10-minute newscast, produced April 24, 1984. Dolly Harvey, Dan Gillette, Christy Snodgrass, Scott Mark, Brent Smith.
That was fun.
Good evening, I'm Lisa Landry, and this is Metro News. A report issued today by the Environmental Protection Agency states that banning leaded gasoline would save more than $700 million a year in medical bills, auto repairs, and pollution cleanup. The report said that although such a ban would raise pump prices slightly more than a penny a gallon, the long-range benefits would be well worth it. Oil refiners and dealers feel that such a ban by 1988 would strain refining capacity and raise prices even more. In New Jersey, former Atlantic City Mayor Michael Matthews was indicted by a grand jury yesterday. Matthews was ousted in a recall election 2 weeks ago. He had been charged with accepting payouts from an organized crime family in return for favors. A poll released today by the National Association of Secondary School Principals indicates that American teenagers agree with their parents more today than they did 10 years ago. The nationwide poll, entitled "The Mood of American Youth," showed today's teenagers agree with mom and dad on politics, drugs, sex, religion, and even clothing styles. The poll indicated that preparing for a future is a high priority for today's teenagers, and they also showed a greater interest in politics than teens 10 years ago. Simon & Schuster, one of the nation's leading largest publishing houses, entered the $1 billion a year videocassette market today. The decision was based in part on the success of Jane Fonda's workout book. Simon & Schuster published the best-selling book, but the company was unable to produce the video, which grossed $27 million. A company spokesman said that Simon & Schuster will now produce their own video for such books. In Connecticut's Democratic presidential primary on Tuesday, polls by CBS in Connecticut found that Hart captured 53% of the Jewish vote and 51% of the Union vote. According to it was his position against United States troops in Central America that swayed voters. A plan announced yesterday by the New York City officials will give 3,000 homeless men and women public service jobs. The plan, which is expected to go into effect by mid-1985, will create jobs cleaning subways, parks, and emergency shelters. It is hoped that the people participating will receive work experience, which could lead to full-time employment. The city currently spends $134 million each year to house an estimated 6,500 people in 18 shelters each night. We'll be back with the weather right after this commercial break.
High blood pressure, alcohol and drug abuse, depression, emphysema, VD, ulcers, accidents, heart disease, stroke. You know what all these health problems have in common? You can reduce your chances of having them. And the Will Rogers Institute can help for free. The Will Rogers Institute gives people the information they need to make responsible choices about their health. You have a question, you write the Will Rogers Institute, White Plains, New York.
The weather today has been pretty delightful, but I hear the forecast is not so good.
Well, I have some bad news and some good news, actually. The weather started off pretty well today, but unfortunately tonight it's going to be turning a little wet, a little cloudy, a little windy. The low should reach around 40 degrees, but the good news is that it should clear by morning, and then Friday's weather should be sunny and clear, and hopefully with a high near 70 degrees. North and South, however, underwent some rather rough weather over the weekend, hit by killer tornadoes, which killed at least 70 people and injured hundreds more. Tornadoes struck the South Carolina towns of Newberry, Bennettsville, and Winnsboro. The tornadoes have done millions of dollars worth of damage, as well as putting the two states in a, pardon the expression, state of turmoil. Both governors have applied for federal disaster aid, however. That's it for Lisa, back to you.
Lots of college basketball. Earl, what's going on?
Yes. Last night, the Florida Gators defeated the Kentucky Wildcats 82-75, despite a fantastic effort by Kentucky. Center Mel Turpin, who scored an amazing 32 points and had 17 rebounds. The Gators were led in scoring by Vernon D. Lance, who had 26 points, and Stephen O'Connell, who had 24 points for the evening. Kansas State beat the North Carolina Tar Heels last night in one of the most surprising upsets of the season. The Tar Heels were leading the entire game thanks to the combined efforts of Sam Perkins and Michael Jordan, when suddenly in the last 5 minutes, Kansas State started coming back. The rally was led by sophomore Orlando Blackman, who scored an outstanding 11 points in the last 5 minutes. Blackman hit a shot at the buzzer, giving Kansas State a victory over North Carolina 84-83. In the Conference, the Arkansas Razorbacks suffered a crushing defeat to the Louisiana State Tigers 107-89. The Tigers were led in scoring by John Tudor and Dwayne Seals, who had 28 points each. This victory will send LSU Tigers to the Division II playoffs, where they will face the Nebraska Cornhuskers. In the United States Football League, the New Orleans Breakers defeated Chicago in an overtime victory of 41-36. And Johnny Walton, the quarterback of the Breakers, set a USFL record by passing for over 440 yards. Walton completed 29 passes, 4 of them for touchdowns. Mel Shabinsky, head coach of the Breakers, said that he expected his team to go all the way this season. In professional hockey, the New York Islanders clinched the playoffs by defeating the Detroit Red Wings 6-4. Bobby Nystrom led the Islanders to victory with 3 goals. Nystrom is expected to win the MVP award this year. Atlanta Braves pitcher Pascal Perez was convicted of drug possession charges last year and was fined $1,000. But a hearing will be held early this April trying to determine if the 26-year-old pitcher should be allowed to join the Braves at spring training. A government spokesman said that Perez would probably not be allowed to enter spring training, especially since Perez had already received a reduced sentence. The usual charge for cocaine possession is a 2-year jail sentence and a fine of up to $5,000. Chuck Tanner, manager of the Pittsburgh Pirates, feels that he has the best pitching staff in the Major League Baseball, and he could very well be right. The Pirates have 2 excellent left-handers who are expected to lead the Pirates to many victories this season. Their names are John Candelaria and Larry McWilliams, and both pitchers have an ERA to be proud of. Salary disputes almost kept Candelaria from playing this season, but things were straightened out before spring training began. And that's the latest in sports. Lisa?
On the lighter side, Clara Peller is the little gray-haired old lady who browse Where's the Beef in the internationally known Wendy's commercial, is on the upswing to becoming a star. Peller, a Chicago resident, went to Mexico last December after shooting her first ad and came back 2 months later to find herself a star. Clara has no beef with her pay either. Her pay is about $30,000 for both commercials and profits from tie-in products. For all Clara Peller fans, you can be looking for novelty items coming out soon that features Clara Peller posters, coffee mugs, T-shirts, and dolls. If this is not enough, also in the works is a possible theme song and an MTV video. For all you fans from the movie The Way We Were, here is some exciting news. Sidney Pollack, director of the movie, is talking with co-stars of that film, Barbra Streisand and Robert Redford, about a sequel. Pollack says we'd pick up the story 10 to 15 years later and see the characters after this time and what has happened to them. Although he admits there is no script in the working as of now, the project is in development. As for a title movie, you might be expecting something like The Way We've Changed. That's Metro News. We'll have more news at 11. Thank you for joining us.